Welcome to the Trauma Triple Take. My name is Margaret. Listen, y'all, this is really what it's like. We're going through it tonight, okay? My name is Margaret. I have my wonderful co-hosts Mel and Amber here.
Hello.
We're trying to figure technology out, and we're not good at it.
Yeah, it's been
audio curse.
Yeah. But as always, thank you for joining us. Tonight, our topic is the loneliness epidemic. And we're going to get our takes on it and our thoughts, opinions, all the things. But first, as always, we're going to go over our disclaimer. So the views and opinions expressed on Trauma Triple Take are those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute professional, medical, psychological, or legal advice. This podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. If you are experiencing a mental health crisis, please contact the National Crisis Hotline at 988 or your local emergency services. Listener discretion is advised, as some episodes may contain sensitive subject matter, including discussions of trauma, abuse, and mental health challenges. By listening, you acknowledge that you do so at your own discretion. And the National Crisis Hotline, again, is 988. So, now that we're here,
Yes.
we've made it.
finally.
We're present. What do we think about the loneliness epidemic in America?
Amber.
I can go first. Also,
Yeah.
I apologize. I know the background is not great. I have been slacking on getting a green screen, so theirs looks much better than mine. But anyway,
It's a work in progress. We're okay.
Just want to acknowledge it. Yeah, we are definitely work in progress. Yeah, so this is actually a topic that I wanted to talk about because I feel like it's such a big thing right now. I think that there's a lot of, probably especially like younger people. I know people talk about also like men, but I just think in general, people are feeling just very disconnected and very. Okay, so first loneliness is not like literally being by yourself. You can be with people physically and still feel alone. Like, just because you're surrounded by people does not mean that you're having that connection. And I just think that one of the most obvious things would be like phones and social media, because everybody has a phone now. It's like, you go to like a diner, or you go out to eat, whatever, and there can be a group of people and they're all just like looking at their phones, like they're not actually interacting. I do personally think that it's been something that has happened over time, though. I just think that has exacerbated
Yeah.
Phones and social media. Yeah, so I just think that like there's so many people who literally, like, when I watch some TikTok videos, or I've just seen videos from people who literally say they don't know how to make friends. They're like, I have 0 friends. And a lot of times you have friends online, but like that relationship can only go so far. And I'm not saying that those relationships don't matter, but there is something to be said with like actual in-person connections and stuff.
Absolutely.
And I just think that it just makes me sad, I guess, that I've seen so many people who are just like, they literally don't know how to make friends. And I think a lot of that is the younger generation, because they've grown up with the social media, the phones. I don't envy that at all. I'm very happy I grew up, like, I was in high school when cell phones became more common to have, like, probably aging myself, but that's I just think we need to talk about it, because I think sometimes people probably put too much pressure on making friends. Like, how do I do it? Like, how, like, overthink it. Like, how do I act? Like, do I need somebody online? Like, it becomes something that's hard to obtain for some people. So I just want to say all that. And I just think it's worth talking about because none of us should feel like alone. I don't believe that. There's so many people in the world, and there, even if you feel like you can't relate to people, there's somebody out there. Like, there are people for you. You have people out there. And so I want this to be more of a hopeful message, like talking about it, but also more hopeful that, like, you don't have to be lonely. Like, and not saying that it's necessarily a choice. I'm just saying that we can do things, like, you don't have to be alone. You know what I mean? I will get off my soapbox. Let's be able to talk. I don't know if either of you have anything to say about, like, that, or you want to, like, redirect it, which is totally fine.
Yeah, I'll go. I think this is an interesting topic because there's so many different perspectives, like on it. So I hear loneliness epidemic. The first thought that comes to my mind is the male loneliness epidemic, right?
Yes.
And I've heard a lot about this from various perspectives, right? So from the female perspective, like, I'm thinking, like, heterosexual, like, cisgendered women, I'm hearing from them, like, men want you to be a certain type of way. They want a certain type of woman. They want you to be, like, 5'0" and 100 pounds, right? They want you to be
Well,
whatever, 5'2", whatever the requirement is, right? But, like, I'm hearing women saying that men want this idealized type woman. They want them to be, like, whatever. An unrealistic expectation is the key point here. And then I hear from men that, they're hearing the same thing, that women want super tall, super wealthy, got your life together, and all of these things. And it seems to me, from somebody who has been married for a few years, that it's hard to find people in online spaces, I should say, I'm thinking like online dating, who are willing to grow together. Do you know what I mean? So, like, I'm hearing a lot from women, from married women, from women in general, that, like, men are not willing, it seems like, to grow to a certain point. And then you hear from men that women just want to, like, be independent, live on their own, or have it all, so to speak. So I think it's, like, difficult. I think there's also a perspective of, like, what Amber was talking about, where it's like there's a lack of, like, connection, like, where you have connections with people, say, online, or you have connections with people that you could interact with digitally, whether it's through, like, gaming or, like, Discord servers or online platforms, like, whatever. But that connection only goes so far, and having, like, that physical, like, friendship, or, like, a more, I want to say intimacy, but I don't want that to be, like, misconstrued.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't necessarily mean, like, sexual intimacy, but, like, just an intimacy and friendship that is different than online, and there is a lack of that. I think you're exactly right, especially with, like, the digital age. You can get everything that you need online, for example, right? But, like, can you?
Exactly.
I think that's the question, right? And then too, like, I think then there's even, like, a different type of loneliness, of, like, loneliness within groups of people that you're not supposed to be lonely with.
Yes.
Like, I've experienced that even in, like, my own family, where there's been times, like, you have a family gathering and yet there's not a single person that you relate to. And you're not lonely. This is your family. It's supposed to be the tightest people that you have, but then that's not the case either. So there's, like, so many different avenues we could even kind of dip our toes into in this conversation. And I think all of them are super interesting. What do you think, Mel?
I think that it is interesting that, like, part of it, I think is a communication thing. Like, we're not taught how to communicate like in general. I think that is a forced skill that was occurring pre-social media and internet. And now that it is missing, there's a difference between communicating with people online versus communicating in person. And
Right.
like, it is much harder to read somebody's energy over the internet than it is to read them when they're standing in your presence. And so I definitely think that's a huge barrier. I also feel like when we talk about like the gender identity or the gender, what's the word I'm looking for? Spectrum. There we go. The gender spectrum. Like, we are talking about two different ideas that the opposite gender has of what is expected that are on the very opposite ends. And so it's like, yeah, there are people and there are women that want a man that is perfectly gorgeous and has it all together. And then there are men that want that same thing from women. But there's a huge majority in the middle that we completely ignore. But a big issue is the fact that we don't understand how to create emotional safety and validation in our relationships. And so if a guy or a girl is not able to reciprocate that in a relationship, it is going to be harder. Like, you are going to have a hard time finding someone. But also I know that there's that whole, if you can't love yourself, how are you going to love somebody else? I don't necessarily. Yeah. Mom, no. But I don't know. I don't fully believe that. Like, I do think that you can have broken pieces of yourself that still are being put together when you try to get into a relationship with somebody else, and somebody else can help you create that. But there is something to be said about having enough self-esteem to be able to go out and meet people, to have enough care for yourself that you can have interests and hobbies and something to talk about. Because even if you are not the most physically attractive person in that type of relationship, or even the most social person, if you have interests and hobbies, you can generally find a community of some kind. And so being willing to put yourself out there enough, just enough to get in somewhere, is a really big motivator. And also, I want to put a little star warning. Alcohol is not the only way to meet people, but it's becoming the only way to meet people in a lot of situations. Our world is becoming much more revolved around alcohol, which makes it harder for people that are sober or harder for people that don't really care to drink. Like, making relationships in that is very difficult. So, I mean, it is understandable. We've got so many things coming together at the same time that we haven't learned how to really grow beyond yet. Like, we're in the process of figuring out how we grow through this. And so it's going to create some gaps in our ability to move forward faster.
Yeah.
That was my little 2 cents, but
yeah. But you guys actually both brought up a lot of good points that, like, I wasn't, like, Margaret, the things that you said, like, I didn't even think about, like we could do an episode or a stream, like, for each one of those types. Like, but like, when I went into it, I wasn't even thinking about, like, relationships, like romantic relationships. So it's so fascinating that there's, like, just so many different, like you said, I think you said so many different avenues we could go down. Like, and then, Mel, you, like, absolutely are right. I would push back a little bit on, like, only because, I mean, this might not be true. I'm going based on things that I've seen, because apparently, like, I think it's mostly, like, millennials and Gen Z and I don't know, like, are actually drinking less.
Absolutely.
Oh, true. Right.
That is true.
But that thing, that does also, not that it's as bad, but like I feel like there always has to be like food involved. Like we have to go get food, or we have to go get drinks, or you know, something like that. It's like, can't we, like, what if we just like hang out and watch a movie? What if we, like, I feel like people, and maybe I'm wrong, like I love getting together with people and just like playing games. Like that's super fun to me. Like not video games, like actual board games. Sorry, I'm old. Or video games, I guess, but I feel like that's too like you're too distracted. You're too into that. You're not as like, whereas a board game, you're interacting with each other like
right
more. So yeah, I think you both brought up a lot of really good points that I wasn't even thinking about.
Well, and can I just say too, something with your like slightly disagreeing. I agree that millennials and Gen Z are drinking less. The thing that I'm speaking around is culturally.
Yeah. No, for sure.
The only spaces that
right.
become like third spaces that are for hanging out or meeting people generally tend to be
Definitely.
bars or around drinking.
Well, and how often do you hear, like even with coworkers, like, hey, you want to go grab a drink? Like, and there's so many people who, like you mentioned, are recovering, or maybe they just don't want to drink. Maybe they've never drank, but like there are a lot of people I've discovered that are recovering, and it's just that I could see how that would be like hard when people are just like, oh, you want to go grab a drink, and you're like, I'd like to hang out, but can we not go get a drink?
Well, and I do want to say, like, I feel like so many bars in general and restaurants, I feel like, are getting better about it, like accommodating sobriety, right? And people that don't drink. Like there's a lot more non-alcoholic alternatives and non-alcoholic beers and non-alcoholic wines. Like those are all being supplied to restaurants and bars, but that still doesn't remove the act of having to go to that space.
True.
Like,
and being around, being around the thing that you're trying to abstain from.
Absolutely. And there's less and less cheap spaces too.
Like, that's true.
We are in a situation where we are basically having to pay for entry to friendship or hanging out with people. Like there is no free things for the most part, unless you want to go for a nature walk. And not everybody wants to go for a nature walk. Like
this is true. This is true. And I think that's a good point too, that like you were talking about third spaces. That's where my mind also went, is like how, I don't know about, where you all live, but for us, it was when we were younger, we would go to the mall. Our parents would drop us off at the mall and we'd be at the mall for a while, like hours. We'd spend our whole day at the mall, and you could survive off $20. Just like go get a slice of pizza at Sbarro and then like chill in the Hot Topic for most of your day and just laugh at the sex toys and Spencer's. Like it was like you literally would like spend your whole day there, and it was so fun. And even like our mall had an arcade. There was a lot of shenanigans happening in there, but like, you know what I mean? And so as the technological age has really kind of taken over, a lot of those places, like you said, are gone. Like our town still has a bowling alley, but like that's pretty much it. And again, there's a fee to entry. So it's tough. I think like some of the smaller towns, at least in my state, I will say, are doing a good job of creating like festivals and like downtown, like what do they call them, like First Fridays or whatever, where like the first Friday of the month they have like a little, all the shops open their doors, they close the street down, and they have like little vendors and little market music.
Like a night market or
something like that.
A market.
Yeah, so that people can come out. Like my town is also hosting like a couple farmers markets. So I think there's like some places where those things are kind of making more of a resurgence because that is really needed. People really want to get out of their house, not spend $100 and engage with people. And I think we're really seeing, as far as like politically and otherwise, that community is really like a big key to that. And with that, including that loneliness topic, I was watching a video the other day where it was like, people talk about not having a village. It was a mom who's talking about like raising her kids and stuff. And she's like, people talk about not having a village to raise the kids. She's like, you have to create the village. She's like, if you don't have it, you have to create it. And you have to meet people where they are. Maybe the mom in your life is just struggling with like chopping vegetables for a veggie tray for a party that she's going to. You go chop veggies. Like, you have to, like we talked about before, create vulnerability, right? Like you have to be vulnerable to other people, and you have to be willing to accept the invitation when it's offered for help and for helping.
Yes.
Yes. And that creation of that community really starts there. I think there's another, just because it's in my world right now, there's another organization that I know of that's called the Hot Mess Express, which is basically, it's a nationwide organization at this point, but it's basically moms who all got together on Facebook. And if there's a mom that they know in their community that's struggling, say she lost her husband or, was injured or, just had a baby, something like that, these moms in that community, that Facebook group, will go to this person's house and they will help clean and they'll take care of their kids for the afternoon, and they'll go drop off, food trains and start things like that. And these are examples of community that, while we are missing the third spaces, are ways that we can kind of reconnect with each other, and they make such a huge impact. So I think that's kind of a way that we can pivot in a way, where we're including the digital age because we're using Facebook and other social media to stay engaged, but then creating real world impacts. So, yeah.
Another thing that I wanted to say too is like how much mental health is impacted by the loneliness epidemic.
Yes.
Like mental health. Okay, there are so many factors that impact mental health, but the loneliness, like humans are meant for connection. And the fact that we are so separated, like, is really impactful to us as social creatures. Like, even if you are not somebody that genuinely considers themselves social, you still require some aspect of socialness and connection. Like, human connection cannot be replicated anywhere else. And so it's really unfortunate, like the rise in mental health issues that we've seen as the rise of social media has occurred, and as the rise of so many other things have, like, there's just so many compounding factors. But that specifically, like, a lot of people don't understand why the mental health issues are the way they are. And part of that's because we've gotten more aware, like we've done more research, we've gotten further along in that. But part of it is because we have become so separated as, like, just in families, in community, in friendships. Like, I grew up in a really small town. Well, I can't say really small, like 8,000 people, but not like huge. Technically, my town had like 2,000, but here nor there. But there was only 80 people in my graduating class. And in that class, I still probably have half of them on my Facebook. And like, we still, like, I still know people that I went to high school with, and I still hang out with them. Not like all of the same people, but I do have friends that I made from there that have followed me into adulthood just because there was that sense of community. Like, we did a lot of things together when we were younger, and it's not that way anymore, really, especially with like the larger schools. Like, the bigger the school, the less known you are. And so there are trade-offs to that. Like, yeah, sure, the smaller the school, everybody knows everything from the time we were in kindergarten. But people know you.
Right. For better or for worse.
Right? Like, everybody knows everything about everybody. But it still made you feel seen and heard, and like even in a negative way, you were seen and heard.
Mm-hmm.
And that might not be like amazing, but it's something that makes you feel less alone. You're like, well, at least somebody knows I exist, you know?
Yeah.
Right.
And we just don't have that same, I don't know, ability anymore. I don't know how we get that back, but
I don't know.
we have to figure out new. The friggin' okay. Sorry, I got so excited.
I can tell.
Trunk or treat.
Right.
I am so mad about Halloween. Okay, I'm not gonna
I
lie.
know.
Like, I am
know.
a 37-year-old adult, and I am pissed off about Halloween. And it's mainly like I understand the risks of going trick or treating, but like that was such an experience too. Like,
yeah,
putting yourself outside your comfort zone, meeting other people, going and like having that entire experience as a child was so big. And now we've created such a small world around it. And it's like nobody's really participating in Halloween anymore. It used to get like, I think about the old people, like they used to hand out candy. And like that was like sometimes some of their favorite parts of the year. Like just being able, like you'd never eat the Mary Janes, but you would always be so happy that you got to meet that person. You know?
Yeah.
Thank you for this gross candy that I'm going to throw away when I get home. But you know, it was.
Yeah. Thanks for the apple.
Right. I always had a tender spot for it. But it also was a way to build community and like in ways that you would never even realize. And we just don't. I'm so mad at COVID for trunk or treating because I feel like, yeah, sure, Halloween was going down for a while, but it really escalated it. Like, like, so fast. Sorry, that was a little tangent about trunk or treating, but go ahead.
No, I get it. I get where you're coming from, and I agree because, like, you know, like you said, especially like our elderly population, people who are like immunocompromised, people who just, you know, maybe they're only in the place where stepping outside their front door a few inches to hand somebody a fistful of candy is what they can do with human interaction. You know, like I'm thinking about people who have extreme anxiety, agoraphobia, depression, like that just might be where they are. And so, yeah, I totally agree with you that while we're trying to create scenes of safety or whatever, really even where did the trunk or treats come from? Help us figure it out in the comments. But like, yeah, those places are slowly eroding and those experiences are eroding with them.
Well, and okay, trunk or treating came from COVID because like families were like, we can't miss out on the trick or treating experience, which was super thoughtful and great. And they didn't want to like do weird things. So they were like, we'll take our little community and we'll do the trunk or treating. But then it, you know, just killed all of it everywhere.
We're done with that now. We need to reconnect as a society.
We need to come back. But and there was something else I was going to say too. I was so like stoked about it. Oh, I was going to ask you guys. This is a controversial question.
Okay.
But I think it kind of ties into the loneliness epidemic and like the mental health stuff. And it kind of ties into what you were just finishing with like being immunocompromised or having social anxiety or things like that. Do you feel like we're too sensitive as a society right now?
So I don't know. I feel like I understand people's perspectives. This is going to be like such a political answer, but I feel like I understand people's perspectives both ways, right? Because like I get how people say that like everything is padded for your comfort and everything is just like whatever answer you're looking for in the internet, you're going to find it, right? But in some ways, I see, maybe it's just the corners of the internet that I'm at, I see that people are like a lot more mean than you would expect them to be. Like take a comment section, for example. Somebody posting like a viral video, you might see 30, 40 comments just criticizing that person's appearance, criticizing that person's weight, criticizing what they say, how they say it. Do they have like, you know, so I feel like in a way, like, yes, I understand that people feel that way, but also I think that there's a lot more, like with trolls, and a lot more confidence that people have to say things online that they may not say to somebody face to face.
Absolutely.
So, and that can create like then like a culture, right? Like where that's okay, that's tolerated, that's how we talk to each other.
Yeah.
So both.
I think in my mind, and I do want to hear your opinion too, Amber. I was just going to say, in my mind with this, I feel like there's almost that, what's that ricochet effect, right? Like we've done so much growth in the mental health field. And I feel like a lot of people got dropped off halfway.
What do you mean?
Because, okay, so there's a whole range that you have to go through, right? So there's like the validation portion, and there's, helping them see the patterns. And then there's this other side of it where it's like, okay, now we have to do the hard thing, right? It's not just staying in the good feel validation all the time. It's you got to go to the hard thing. But a lot of people got dropped off right here. And
I get what you.
Instead of going to the resilience part where you move through it and you create more, resilience, but
yeah, like the toleration of discomfort, the
yes.
window of tolerance, like expanding your window of tolerance. Yeah.
But I think people don't realize that there's that next step, right?
Right.
It is great to validate your experience. It's great to validate what happened to you and how things affected you. All of that is very true and very real. What next?
Right.
Let's spend some time in validation, but we have to move forward into how we handle things now. Yep. And a lot of people stop at that validation spot. And so that's kind of what I was thinking about, like how the loneliness epidemic ties into that sensitivity, like ultra sensitivity almost.
Yeah.
And like how we've reduced our resilience to be able to go out and meet people. And we've reduced our resilience to be able to be uncomfortable because we've been very concerned with validating our past and validating our current self altogether. What do you think, Amber?
Yeah, no, that was a very good point, I think, because both are important, right? Like it's important to like get that validation and stuff, but I love that you said like what's next, because you can't just stop there and be like, well, and sit in your, I mean, you can, and unfortunately too many people do, just sit in that experience and stuff, in that trauma, but then that kind of takes over who you are, and then you're living your life based around that, like So I love that it's like it needs action. Like, what are you going to do about it? Like, you can't just live in this like mentality, victim mentality, I would say. But I very much agree with that. I do personally feel like people are way too sensitive. I know that's probably controversial, but I love that you brought that up, Mel, because I think that explains a lot of it. Because we've gotten so caught up. And even in like what we do, like the trauma coaching, it's like validation is so important. It really is, because you can't it's hard to move past something if you don't feel seen in that. If you don't feel like your experience is like, I don't know, like validation is the only word I can think of.
But, yeah, like it's okay.
Like like there's so much healing in that alone, like being heard and seen. But yeah, then it's like, okay, where do we go from here then?
Also, I want to say too, it's not about other people validating your experience though all the time. It's about you validating and accepting experience. And so I think sometimes people think that it's like you have to validate my experience for me. It's about coming to a recognition that it is your experience and that it was valid. It did happen.
Yeah. I guess this might be telling, but my mind went to when people don't know about things, or like things that happened, or you were like kind of tricked into thinking that made it up or you
Mhm.
remember
Oh,
it
yeah.
wrong. I guess my mind automatically went there because I think in those instances it's really important to like have validation from somebody else. Like, but no, you're absolutely right. It's not always about other people. Like other people don't need to validate your experience for it to be an experience, the experience that you had. So I agree with that for sure.
Sorry, go ahead.
No.
I just have so much to say about this topic. I'm like,
Oh, now you do.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but
at first it's like, I don't really have a lot to say about this.
no, I want to acknowledge, like, I am also one of those people though that went through an entire period of needing validation. I still need it sometimes. There's this point, like coming from an abusive household and not recognizing the abuse, it takes a few years to be able to really like sit with the idea. Like, yeah, I grew up in an abusive household. My parents were abusive. It was a toxic environment. Things came out of that I wasn't okay with. And that doesn't make my parents necessary in my particular situation, not everybody's, doesn't make my parents bad people. That means that they had issues that they didn't resolve and they didn't know how to deal with it. And now it's my responsibility to have boundaries with them. But it took years of going back and forth about like, okay, is this really abuse? Is this actually what happened to me? Am I over exaggerating it? Like,
Exactly.
You go through that cycle of, oh my gosh, what is this? Like, am I just being a victim? Am I just being too sensitive?
Yeah.
And you are going to have that experience. If you have been in an abusive household, if you've been in an abusive relationship, I don't think there's any skipping that experience. Like,
yeah, it's the denial phase.
It's the denial phase, especially when it's more psychologically based than physically based. But there's no skipping that. And it's going to take you some time to feel solid in being able to say it. But there is that next step still of, okay, now what? Once we get to this place where I can say, yes, this happened to me. I know it existed. I feel solid in that belief.
Yeah.
Now we get to move forward. And so I just want to put that out there that the growth phase does occur, and it doesn't mean anything's wrong with you or that you're being too sensitive. Because I know in this conversation, I would have 100% thought that I was being too sensitive and been like,
yeah, for sure. Well, and for me, it's like complicated because, like I said, I do believe people are like, not everybody, but I just think there's a culture around being too sensitive. Like, oh, you hurt my feelings, so everybody needs to know about it. It's like, sorry, like life is hard. Like that's just the way it is, unfortunately. I wish it wasn't, but it is. But also, I grew up with like my dad was very like I think I saw him cry maybe once. He was very much like did not like crying. Like it was one of those like
you want something to cry about?
I was gonna say that actually, yeah. Like if you keep crying, I'll give you something to cry about, kind of thing. Like just very much like you couldn't. It was like that was a weakness to cry, to show those types of emotions. So it's an interesting balance because I don't think that's healthy whatsoever. So I do think it's important for people to feel like they can be open about things and cry and feel hurt about situations, for sure. But I just think that sometimes people take it too far and it's like, well, this happened, so I'm a victim. And then it becomes like this, I don't know, what do they say, like oppression Olympics or something? like, well, I was dealt with this. And it's like, okay, like, but can like we do something about it then and like, you know, move on, like you were saying, like what next? Like let's do something then. And not just stay in that. So it's really weird for me. I don't know, because I realize the opposite ends of it. Like it's definitely not healthy, in my opinion, to, you know, not be allowed those emotions and to not be hurt, especially as a kid. But then also, let's not get stuck in that, like in those feelings.
And Well, because I'm thinking about like the repair aspect, right? In relationships with the loneliness epidemic, a lot of us don't know how to repair relationships.
Right.
There's a huge amount of people that just either blow something off and like, oh, it's fine, don't worry about it. Like, but then they don't actually talk about what's going on with them and they hold resentment towards it.
Yes.
There's a lot of people that would just cut somebody off and say, you know what, I'm not doing this. Like, you've blown your chance, which definitely creates a lot of other issues too. But like, people have become so insulated with like their feelings in general that we have not like really figured out how to do. Sorry, I'm cutting myself off mid thought because I have a better example. Well,
Thank you for the sharp left. I appreciate it. I know where we're going now.
You will when I finish. But no, I was thinking about like when our parents were raising us, right? Like our millennial generation, we still had a lot of that tough love mentality, right? But we didn't get a lot of the support, and we didn't have a lot of the like being seen and heard and validated. But it's like the gentle parenting now. We like went the complete opposite route.
Yeah.
Instead of finding that nice balance, which happens. But because we never actually learned the foundations of what is happening in those moments. So in tough love, you're never experiencing repair. And in gentle parenting, you're never experiencing boundaries and that discomfort. And so part of being in relationships is being willing to address discomfort and be honest with our feelings and then learn how to repair that and move on. Instead of diverting and taking different routes and saying, you know what, I'm just going to cut this person off, or I'm just going to hold resentment towards this person. Like, it's understanding how we want to exist in relationships and how we want to be received in relationships and willingness to work on that. But a lot of us, because we received the tough love version back in the day, or even some people now, I'm sure, but we were just taught to stuff and stuff and stuff and stuff. So I feel like we are more prone to the resentment. And then the gentle parenting side of it, or like I want my child to feel seen, loved, and heard, but they're never going to have any discomfort. That scenario, it's offering no sense of discomfort. Like, it should all be about me and my comfort level.
Exactly.
And that creates the entire opposite problem. But neither issue is addressing that midway point to be able to create the bridge for relationship.
That's perfectly said from like basically what I was trying to say. Love that, because it's like both are kind of extreme spectrum, and neither are healthy. Like, and I feel like you had brought up, like it's kind of like the pendulum swings like one way and then it goes so far the other way, and it's like we need way more balance. Because I love that you use the word discomfort, because there are so many people out there, well, in my opinion, that they feel like if they're uncomfortable, if they experience discomfort, then that's a bad thing. But that's literally a part of life. Like, you can't grow without being uncomfortable. Like, most people have a hard time with change. Like, it's just part of life. So like, it's not like, for me, I feel uncomfortable. It's like, that's how you learn to grow and adjust and really even help figure out who you are by experiencing those things. But yeah, I want to give Margaret a chance to talk.
Hi, Margaret.
No. Yeah, I agree with what you're saying. And too, like, I think it brings it back to the loneliness epidemic with relationships and couples. So like, hearing perspectives from people online who say that like they'll go on a date with somebody and it's looking really good, all of a sudden they get ghosted, or they show up for the date, they get stood up, or they end up talking to this person for a while, things are looking kind of serious, and then all of a sudden turns out they're talking to 7 other people at the same time, or what have you. Like, while those situations are, oh my gosh, so frustrating, and heart goes out to everybody dealing with dating 2026. God bless you.
Seriously.
But like, yeah. So just to date myself, Tinder was just starting to get like just coming up when I met my husband. So like we kind of skipped all that, which was great. Because wow. But what I do see, like, there's no room for growth. So, and what I want to, and how I want to elaborate that is like when my husband and I met, we were 20 and 22. I was working as a certified nursing assistant. My husband was a patient transporter at the time, making like slightly above minimum wage, you know, kind of. Knew where I was going. I was going to nursing school. Like I knew what trajectory I was headed in. And my husband, like, not so much. He was just kind of like, well, dabbled in college a little bit, but I'm kind of like not really sure what I want to do with my life. And there was people in my life, you know, professionally and personally, who told me like, he's not driven. He doesn't know where he wants to be in life. Like, you need to move on. This isn't worth your time, yada, yada. And while I understand where you're coming from in that perspective, like, again, you're not giving room for growth. My husband and I have grown so much together as well as individuals, and we only continue to keep growing. Every year it's like new stages of our relationship. So I want to definitely like speak to that, because you're not going to find I will say, statistically not going to find a package wrapped in a beautiful bow, a person who's got everything figured out, who's been through stuff and also come out on the other side normal, and, you know, is like all of it together, right? People are human, and with that comes imperfections, and you have to discern, I think, what's an imperfection you're willing to live with and what's one that you're not. And while there's a list for everybody, it can't be longer than a CVS receipt, okay? Because that's just not realistic, right? Like, my husband has to deal with me on my bad days as well as I have to deal with him on his bad days. And at the end of the day, we still have to come together and agree to sleep in the same bed most of the time, okay? So, like, it's a lot of give and take. There's a lot of things where I thought I was right. 2 hours into a fight later, I'm realizing I was absolutely wrong, you know, and likewise. So I just want to speak to that point. And then two, just to kind of like wrap up, I guess, the sensitivity part of it. Like, I think a realization of your lived experience, validation, all of that without a call to action is not growth.
Yes.
It's stagnation.
Yes.
Because
Yes.
when you see water that's stagnant, it's not safe to drink. It's the same kind of thing. Like, you have to take that call to action, that energy, baby, because you have to like do something with it.
Otherwise it just becomes like toxic.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And then when you feed it, that's when we see this like insular kind of like silo of information, kind of closed off to the world, and then it's not realistic. When you go out, I will say, like, when I go out into my community, I may not agree with everybody that I meet or their lifestyles or whatever, but like, I usually find people who are cool as fuck.
Oh yeah.
You know, I usually find people who are very sweet and nice, and, you know, because like, people really are more alike than they are different.
Yeah.
And so, I don't know, it just takes some vulnerability, again, circling it back to like, put yourself out there. And I also want to like, not to take up too much time, I also want to like offer people not a solution, but like options. So like, if you're somebody who's listening to this and you're kind of experiencing this where like everybody that you meet is shit and you like really can't get with anybody, start with an online community. Start to, you know, peel into the things that you're interested in, and try and find those communities online to start with, just so that you can kind of gain some sort of connection with people. But then, like, whether it's going to a convention center or it's going to a festival or it's going to a yoga class or an art class or just literally anything. Even like people meet online over Zoom, and while that's not like 100% in person, right? Like obviously as we are, we're still connecting in a very deep way. And that is very fulfilling. So just start where you are. Start where you are. And then I would say if you have the capacity and if you have the room, then extend it to people around you, because there's definitely a lack of more third spaces. And if you can create one yourself, you probably should. I'm talking to myself.
Also, I just want to add to that too. In finding people, be willing to make a fool of yourself.
Totally.
Like, there's something to be said about willing to make a fool of yourself with other people and just take the chance to go say hi to somebody. Like, my friend that I have she's more social than I am, right? But that girl will just randomly walk up to people and be like, "Girl, I love your hair." Like,
that's me.
start like chatting up
Yeah.
people, and I'm like, how? But it really has helped like get me outside of my comfort zone and be willing to talk to people. And I actually had a therapist who told me one time, he was like, if you want to get outside of your comfort zone and like just test it out, go to like a grocery store and ask where the shoes are.
Yeah, right.
I was literally just gonna say something like that. Like,
or go to the shoe store and ask where the fruit is. Like, make yourself look like a fool. Like, and then leave.
Mm-hmm.
And you will realize that didn't impact my life at all.
Or like, so I was gonna say, like, I would encourage people to push themselves a little bit. So like what you're saying about your friend and you, Margaret, like that's my sister totally. Like, we go anywhere together, into a store, she's leaving with a friend, like, or she's had conversations with people in there.
Yeah.
I know we went to a bar once and she was like, oh, this bartender is like my best friend, and like they had met once, and I was like, okay, like everybody's your best friend, like she has a ton of friends. But like we walk in and she was like, hey, it's my, like the bartender was like, hey, it's my new bestie. I was like, Jesus, like how do you make your friends just everywhere? But like it's encouraged me a little bit, like kind of like that, just like, if I'm going shopping, if I'm like just shopping, like, and a salesperson asks you like if they can help you, how you're doing, like just respond, say, oh, I'm good, how are you? Or something that's, it only takes something small like that. Mm-hmm. Or even just like a small encounter with another customer, like, oh, hey, I saw that, like, and I know not everybody is like wanting to have, like, there's plenty of people who are just like, don't talk to me, but I think it's actually like, you'd be surprised how many people are okay with that, because I used to be like that. I was like, don't talk to me, but now I actually enjoy like having those little moments with people, just because it's that interaction, even if it's very quick, and it doesn't ruin your life. It's not this horrible, like, oh my God, somebody talk to me. But it also doesn't have to be like a long thing, right? Like, so I was gonna say that I would encourage people to just like push yourself a little bit, and like just go outside of your comfort zone a little bit, even if it, like you said, go ask where the shoes are, go say hi, like, or like I like talking to the, like when you're checking out and stuff, like I always ask like how their day's been, and like, like, oh, have you been, like, do you get off soon, and but stuff like that. I've made it a point to like just have those little interactions. So I think little things like that can grow to be bigger, to make you more comfortable talking to other people.
I was gonna say, I was literally about to say that. I was like, and I will just say, we have lost the art of the prank call, because that used to like help me gain my confidence too. Like being at a, talk about sleepovers from the other episode, like, being with friends and just being like, let's call Domino's and hang out. Like,
like it was so
it was so edgy and like so whatever. But like we would do that. And I think again, nobody knows each other's phone numbers. Nobody's got a phone book anymore. So like, but try wherever you are, just take yourself to that extra step, even if it's just holding the door open at the gas station for the next person and just saying, here you go, have a good day, see ya. And listen, how many times I talk to everybody that I see almost, and sometimes everybody rolls their eyes and it doesn't affect my day at all. But I feel better that I did, sprinkle a little kindness where I was that day. And those are the things that kind of in small ways help create community. Yeah.
So, also, I just want to say too, if you're going to hold the gas station door, don't do it from 30 feet away. Look.
No, yeah, I'm not running to get that door. You just go ahead.
Don't make me run for it, okay?
Yeah, exactly.
I know that's always awkward.
It is. You're like, I'm just far enough away.
I've also been on the other side though, where I'm like, oh, I thought this person was like closer, so I'm sitting there with the door open, but then I'm like, this is awkward now. But then you feel bad if you were to shut it, like, okay, exactly. I was holding it, now I'm gonna shut it in your face, like. Yeah.
Yes. I hate the self-awareness is another piece of it that's like totally missing from culture now, of like everybody's just thinking about something else or involved in something else. They're just not really like self-aware. Yeah, exactly. So
I have no spatial awareness. It's terrible. I try really hard, but
I'm so awkward.
You're making me run for the door.
Okay, it's actually that I would probably be more likely to accidentally close the door on your face.
Oh, well, that's fair. That's okay. Yeah, that's fair.
I'm one of those people that runs out into the middle of the aisle when I don't look either way. Kayla's constantly grabbing me and pulling me back and like hey, going.
I know.
That's funny. I'm like the total opposite. I'm like too aware. I'm like overthinking what other people are doing, and like, oh, if I go like this way, is that like I'm always thinking about how what I'm doing will affect other people. So I'm like the total opposite of that.
I feel like I used to be like that, and I never had this spatial issue. And then I got to a place where I was like, nobody cares what I'm doing.
Nope, they don't. I know. Because I still apologize for existing all the time.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, sorry, or like, sorry, I have a question. I know you're busy. Like, I have a question. And I think it's just like that conditioning, right? Like, we shouldn't take up space. We shouldn't exist. We should just like fade into the background and just pay for our groceries. But like, it's okay to do that.
Yep. Well, and I think part of that too is me understanding that most people are just living in their own worlds and they're not thinking about that random person. Like, sure, there are going to be people that do, but I think more so like, okay, if somebody cuts me off, I'm not going to be like, meh. I mean, I'm just going to do whatever. Like, don't do that, asshole. But like,
yeah.
Like, well, what if like, they're in a rush and I'm running late for work and like,
yeah,
okay,
right.
Pass.
Right, exactly.
I've calmed down a lot from that. It's so funny as my friends even and family thought it was so funny because I used to be like so shy. I'm definitely an introvert. I'm very, not assertive, as we've talked about. But oh my God, when I was younger, driving and stuff, I was like I was so aggressive. I would honk. I would flip people off. I would even if if they were, I don't know if it's the same everywhere, but like, how the left lane is, I know it's not the same in Canada. The left lane is like the passing lane. Like, you're not going faster. Like, so I would literally like get on somebody's ass if they weren't going like fast enough. And I would get to the point where I would honk if they didn't move. Like,
oh my God, this is so funny.
I know. It's like my family and friends thought it was like, they used to call me just like a very aggressive driver, which I was, but it was so opposite of like my natural personality. Like, it's so crazy. I've calmed down though. Like I said, I now have a lot more patience because the road rage incidences have gotten so crazy that I'm just like, that made me like, okay, it's not worth it. Like,
you're a reformed road
like,
rager.
I am. I have. I had to do a little self-reflection on that, but
Yeah.
Like now you get a gun pulled on you.
Literally, it's bad.
like seriously,
It's so
Yeah,
bad.
I know.
But oh,
anyway, yeah.
Well, shifting gears, we like to wrap up our episodes now talking about like things that we're finding inspiration from, things that you're watching, listening to, just kind of anything that you're consuming that's making you happy or that's inspiring you. So, what's everybody got?
I want to go get it.
You can go get it. It's fine.
It's worth the wait. Okay.
Okay.
Worth
Okay.
the wait. Amber, talk about yours. Okay.
Okay.
I don't want.
Her face always gives her away. Like she always is like, like she's so animated. Like
There is no
Anyway,
poker
you're
face.
back.
okay.
Okay.
So for me, I've always kind of done this, but I was thinking about it since I knew we were doing this today. I love watching animal videos. Like whether it's one of my favorites is like different species being best friends. Like animals that shouldn't be friends being friends. Or animals helping people, saving kids. Like kids and animals, like those, man, some of the best videos. So I watch those. Even Adam says on his lunches a lot of times because he gets stressed out at work, and then he'll watch animal videos like on his lunch. They make me
love
so
that.
happy. They make me so happy, and I
Yeah.
love when people help animals. When animals help people, like it's just
I know.
it makes me like it I can't think of the word. Like sometimes I like kind of lose faith in humanity, you know. I'm just like,
Oh yeah, totally.
So watching those makes me feel better. I'm like, okay, there's good stuff out there.
Yes, I love that. And I love to I love to where like the one animal will like become the mother of the other animal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean, where it's like
they take
somebody put like a peacock under a chicken and then it like turns into its baby, and it's like, oh my god, it just makes my heart melt. So I get it. Yeah,
I love that.
What is it, Mel? What do you have for us?
I realized, unfortunately, the thing that I have is green. So hold on.
Oh my god.
Okay, I'm sorry, but it's worth the wait. And it's worth the insanity that's happening behind me that no one's
sure.
So hold on, let me take this off.
Oh my god.
And
at least we're authentic, guys. At least we're authentic.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you see is what you get.
So it's actually my partner's, but I am in love with it and I bought one. But it's yay.
Oh, it's squishy.
Not only is it squishy, it's also like kind of fine. And you can take the face off.
Wow, that's really cool.
And that actually is really cool. I would play with that thing all day.
I know, it's so.
But does it make your hands sticky?
Not at all.
Okay, I like that.
I love textures like that. Oh,
me too.
Where'd you get it?
Amazon. Well, she got it from as a gift.
Oh,
but because I liked it so much, I got one off Amazon.
You should send me the link because
yes, please. Me too. Let's put it in. Actually, if you can find the link, can we post it in our feed for those who are interested?
Okay. There's something so satisfying about that. I don't know.
Absolutely, I love that. I love that it's
slime, but it doesn't leave your hands sticky.
Yeah, I wouldn't like that.
That's next level, and it comes with its own bag.
Oh, that's great. That's great. No fuzz, no nothing. Because I'm always thinking about the dog hair. I'm like, is the dog hair going to stick to it?
Same.
But no. Okay, very nice. Okay, it was worth it. Thank you so much.
Thank
you. You're welcome.
I just love how excited you were about it, though. Like,
yes, we had to follow through.
It was worth the wait, and
it was.
I don't generally get super excited about like sensory stuff. Like, I like them.
I get it though.
This was next level though. I was like, oh, I gotta get one.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think I might need one too. Do usually have a couple fidget toys, but I think my son raided my desk, so they're gone. They're all gone.
Oh no.
So it must be him. Oh, that's pretty cool. Yeah, I love that.
You can make it all freaking flat.
Oh, nice. Yeah,
Sorry.
that's pretty great.
Okay, I'm
Right.
good. What was yours,
Margaret.
Oh,
Did you see yours?
mine. I did not. I started a new audiobook and I finished it or I haven't finished it. I have an hour left of it, but like I read the majority of it in a day, and it's so good. So you guys remember Mythbusters from way back, right? For those of our younger, potential younger listeners, there was a show that was on Discovery Channel, which now doesn't exist, but it was called Mythbusters. I think you can still stream it though. But it was basically a show where these guys would like prove these folklore, legends, tales, like things like that. They would either debunk it or prove it. Right. And they used science, and it was really cool. And so one of the guys, Adam Savage, he wrote a book, and it's called Every Tool is a Hammer. And it is like the book I didn't know that I needed to listen to, but I'm so glad that I found it. I found it on Libby, our library app. Love Libby, and supporting our local libraries. And so it's free. And it's just like such a great book. It talks about all different types of ways to make things. It talks about how Adam Savage began making things, and it kind of breaks down the book as far as like different tools that he used in making things. And this is sounding very like specifically nerdy, but what's really cool about it is that in each section of the tools that he's talking about, he talks about how he first like learned lessons about life with these tools, and like I don't know, it's just really mixed between hobbyist, philosophical, inspirational, and also like sciencey, physicsy. It's really cool.
Every tool is a hammer.
That's right. Yeah, and it's like I said, it's free on Libby. I'm sure you can find it on Amazon, Audible, wherever else you find stuff. But it's like it's a 10 out of 10 book, and I'm not usually like good to give 10 out of 10. It's like really great. I turned my husband onto it. Yeah, I turned my husband onto it, and he does not listen to books. He does not listen to podcasts. He's like music in the car only kind of person, and he's like halfway done. So,
okay,
it's very good. Yeah.
Nice.
So as always, guys, I just want to thank you so much for your time. Thanks to everybody who listened. And if you have any things that you want to, you feel passionate about, you want to include, throw them into the chat, as well as our email. You can always email us at t3live@proton.me with any stories, examples, questions, things that you want addressed, idea topics for a future episode. And then we will catch you next time.
Like and subscribe.
Oh, please like, comment, subscribe, tell people about it. Thanks.
All that. Hopefully I'll have a green screen next time.
Right.
Yes. Yeah, hopefully we'll have our lives figured out.
Bring my thing, the show and tell better.
That's right. Yeah. Until then, we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.